And we welcome you another edition of the Ollie Reed Sports Podcast. And man, oh man, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, the 2026 WVSSAC State Basketball Tournament is officially set for tomorrow morning. And Michael Griffith is joining us from the Dominion Post as he will be there this week as well. So, should be an exciting one, as I've already mentioned before over the past couple of weeks. This was predicted to be one of in my opinion, the most anticipated state tournament that I've gotten to cover in a long time. And since 2024, as you can remember, those state title games were neck and neck for most of the game. For all four of those championship games were. I'm kind of seeing that here for this season, but should be very entertaining for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of the four classes, I think AA is probably the only class that you can kind of pick a favorite in. Obviously, Wheeling Central is probably by far one of the favorites in the class,
Mm-hmm.
but Quad A, Triple A, and Single A, I feel like are wide open a little bit. Especially Quad A. There's probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 teams that have a shot at making a run to the title game and pulling off a good win. So I'm excited to get down there and watch some good basketball for sure.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup. We're going to start off with the Class Single A bracket. I can try to see if I can remember this off the top of my head. The first game tomorrow morning at 9:30 is going to be Tucker County and Huntington St. Joe's.
Yep.
As we all know about Tucker County, they've been the Class Single A state title game for the past 3 years, have eventually fallen to the three-time defending state champion Tug Valley Panthers, who are a 2 seed. But they're going to face off against a very hungry St. Joe's team, a program of which have been to the state title as kind of like in the higher seeds, like kind of like in the lower seeds between 6th, 7th, and 8th over the past couple of years with this young group. But this young group from a couple of years ago are back as seniors and juniors, Grady Painter and Micaiah Aram. And those guys, I know they're destined to try to make a run. They did beat Tug Valley in the regular season. They split the series there, so be very interesting to see. And then 11:15, I believe, in AA is going to be Wayne and Doddridge, which that'll be very interesting. Wayne's first appearance to the state tournament for the first time in school history. And
Yeah.
Wayne's had some pretty good teams in the past, but this year just ended up falling through the cracks of the March Madness. And I think that 4 and 5 game AA should be very interesting to watch.
hmm Yeah, I agree. I think you're talking about that first game, the Huntington St. Joe's. St. Joe's is averaging almost 74 points a game on offense coming into the tournament, which is really incredible. You talked about Grady Painter and Micaiah Aram, both averaging almost 18 points a game. Actually, Grady is at 18 points a game. And then you have Tucker County, who has been at the top of the class, right, for the last few years. Like you said, playing in the state title game multiple seasons. Having players like Trevor Bonner, all state caliber players like that. But now they're down at that 6th seed. So I'm curious to see how a program that is used to being in Charleston plays at one of those lower seeds. You know what I mean? It's kind of dangerous for them to be at that lower seed because they're going to play probably a decent game, probably a clean game when it comes to playing at Charleston because they've been there before, right? So that's what I'm really looking forward to in that matchup is how Tucker County performs as one of the underdogs. You know what I mean? Because they're not used to being that, especially in the quarterfinals, right? So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely, I agree. And then other single A quarterfinal, Tug Valley, as I mentioned, the Tug Valley Panthers trying to go for the three-peat. They're going to face off against a Ritchie County team that got in after getting a big win over Clay Battelle in the regional final. Isaac Hodges, who's going to play college basketball at Marietta, is leading Ritchie County. I think he's the all-time leading scorer and rebounder there at Ritchie County, if I saw through what Metro News posted in their preview.
Okay.
And then Seth Cronin is really athletic as well. But obviously for Tug Valley, this is a team that wants to win. This is Braden Ferris's last year. As you know, I've gotten to see this kid play since he was a freshman. And I know this kid is destined to win another state title for the Panthers and for Coach Rabbit Thompson and that Naugatuck community. But it'll be a challenge. Ritchie County is pretty lengthy this year. Very skilled. So it'll be a very interesting matchup there at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And then evening session, the 1 versus 8 between Webster County, the 8 seed, and then Greater Beckley Christian being the 1 seed. Greater Beckley is pretty young this year. They got a couple of good guys, and they got the Spencer brothers and Jabari and Javante Spencer.
Hmm.
Isaiah Gordon, I think, is leading the team in points, as I've saw here in the preview here. And then Webster County got a good win over an upset win over Sherman in that regional championship. So
Hmm.
it could be very
Buzzer
interesting.
beater. Yeah, that was
Off a
crazy.
buzzer beater. I got to
That
see the
was
video of
crazy.
that.
Yeah, that was nuts to watch. That was crazy. Yeah, those last two matches we're talking about, Tug Valley, Ritchie County, man, they can fill it up. I'm kind
Hmm.
of, if Tug Valley comes down, they're another team that's obviously used to playing in Charleston, but
Yeah.
and I know that they like to get to the rim first, but if they don't have a good day, shooting the ball, Ritchie County has two players that average 20 points. I mean, like
Hmm.
they beat Clay Patel on the road to get to Charleston. Actually, I think they beat two teams on the road in the regional tournament: Wood County and then Wood County Christian, and then Clay Patel to get to Charleston. So if Ritchie County, man, you got to watch out for that game. Like I said, if Tug Valley turns the ball over too much, if they get into foul trouble, if they have a bad shooting night, and Ritchie comes out and their two 20-point scorers play how they can play, like that can be an early round upset. So I'm looking at that one um, as another game to watch for the first session as well.
I agree. Yeah, and like I mentioned, Tug Valley is one of the highest scoring teams in Single A this year, and I know they really want that title, but like I said, Ritchie County does force a big presence there with those two scores, and could be a very interesting matchup to see coming up tomorrow at 1 p.m. And then rounding out the evening session on tomorrow night is going to be, I want to say, is the other double A between Wheeling Central Catholic, the defending state double A state champions, and Frankfurt. But if I'm reading this correctly, Carl Holcomb was the one who messaged me this. This is Frankfurt's first appearance since 2012 in the boys basketball
Wow.
state tournament, led by Frostburg State commit Jeremy Phillips. But they are going to have a tough matchup going up against Wheeling Central, who is destined to win back to back this year, led by uh, 2025 Bill Evans Player of the Year and Liberty signee Eli Sancombe, and obviously Max Oliash, and then Luke Sancombe, who's really starting to take shape of his own. I think he's playing a lot better than what he did last year. He's looking a little bit. I want to say he's looking a little bit taller than what he was last year, but height doesn't matter. This kid can still light it up from deep.
Yeah.
The Sancombe brothers definitely going to be a fun duo to watch this week.
Yeah, I agree. Frankfurt also has another scorer, Kyson Waits. He actually averages
Mhm.
almost 17 points a game.
Right.
And like you said, Phillips did become Frankfurt's all-time leading scorer, I think, in
Hmm.
February, averaging
Yeah.
23 points per game this year. So they can fill it up. You got a lot of teams that bring some offense to Charleston this week. It's going to be, the potential to see some high-scoring games, which would be a really, really good thing to see in the state tournament.
I agree. And then rounding up single A quarterfinals is going to be East Hardy and Parkersburg Catholic. Very interesting matchup there. Always a
Yeah,
good 4-5 game.
yeah, that's a good clash of styles right there. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Battle of the Bigs. Luke Anderson from Parkersburg Catholic and Gideon Good from East Hardy. But East Hardy's been in this position before. I want to say this is their fourth consecutive appearance in the single A tournament.
Okay.
And they're trying to, well, from what I've heard, I think I've seen here that they're trying, they've been the semifinal game like at least 3 or 4 times over the past like 4 seasons. So,
Yeah.
but that's the thing I know about this group. East Hardy's very, experienced. I mean, they've been in this position before, and
Hmm.
but Parkersburg Catholic, this is their first go around here, and it should be a tough challenge, but very, very interesting game to watch for sure. I mean, but I
Yeah.
still feel like East Hardy does have a little bit of a chance there to go back to the semifinals, but like I said, Parkersburg Catholic definitely going to be a team to mention here heading into the
Yeah.
semifinal Friday.
Yeah. Obviously, Gideon Good makes a big difference for East Hardy. A 6'8" center, only a junior, 16.7 points a game, 11.5 rebounds, and also averaging 5 blocks, which is incredible. He makes a big deal at the rim, and that's a big deal for this matchup because you have 4 players for Parkersburg Catholic that average in double figures. So it could be a pro or a con. If they don't have one or two guys going, they still have another few guys that can fill it up. So you talk about that in tournament play, especially when you're playing in the Civic Center. If one person's having a bad game and they are usually relied on to score a lot of points, you have four double-digit scores. You know what I mean? You can rely on a couple other people to get it going. So that'll be an interesting matchup to watch.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And Gideon Good, as I've mentioned, he's one of the best big men in single A. The semifinal Thursday, excuse me, I did say semifinal Friday, but single A has their semis on Thursday.
Mhm.
But very interesting game to watch. Moving on to Class AAA, that is going to be on Wednesday. Then it's going to be the other half of the Double A quarterfinals as well. Wednesday we have East Fairmont and Bridgeport. These two teams met in Pleasant Valley. I remember it was a tight game, but the Indians ended up getting a win, a 2-point win
Yeah.
over the Bees, and this will be a very interesting challenge there. Both have some pretty good guards, and should be an interesting one to watch in the first session there.
Yeah, I think so too. Bridgeport's 6-2 against teams in the state tournament, so they've played a good schedule and they've won good games. Obviously, so we know that they're going to be ready to play and that they're going to play a decent game. You know that they're not going to have a bad game at Charleston. So if in order to beat Bridgeport, you're going to have to play a good game.
I agree. And this team, even though they did lose a lot of players from that state championship team a year ago, they still got some pretty good guard play, led by Arion Dodd, averaging over 15 points per game, and one of the best 3-point shooters that I've seen throughout this season. And then got an all-state kicker and Gavin Williams coming in. And then obviously everyone knows about Anderson McDougal and how he drives to the basket. Should be a very interesting matchup for an East Fairmont team was I know they were in the state tournament a couple years ago with Jackson Caruso and all them in that legendary year that they had. So it'll be very interesting to see what that game's going to turn out with the North Central West Virginia teams battling it out in the first round. And then Double A, you got Bluefield and Petersburg. And Mr. Holcomb also told me that this is Petersburg's first appearance to the state tournament since 2007. 2007 is a long time. So definitely want to congratulate Petersburg on making it. They're the 6th seed, and they're going to play a Bluefield team that made it to the 3rd seed. Bluefield, I got to see them play last February at the West Virginia the shootout at West Virginia State University. They do look pretty good. Jay Smith, I already know about him. He's been in the state tournament before, as a youngster, because I think he played in the state title game a few years ago as a sophomore whenever they were playing against Charleston Catholic back in 2024. So definitely be a very interesting matchup there. But even though Bluefield's a 3 seed, Petersburg, they got a couple of good guards in their team, could, give a fair game. But obviously, I feel like Bluefield has the most experience there. And but still should be an interesting challenge, though.
Yeah, Bluefield is well coached too, and they got a good win in the regional tournament at James Monroe to get to Charleston too. So, and then that other quarterfinal that night against Wyoming East and Logan, that's going to be a really good game too.
Oh yeah, that's another game I was just about to bring up here. But I think it was the 2 and the 7 game in Class AAA is going to be the 1:00 game. Who's playing that game? I'm trying to remember.
That's going to be North Marion and Shady Spring.
North Marion and Shady Spring. That's right. That's another game because I watched Shady Spring play in person against Greenbrier Reese in that regional championship, and that Shady Spring team looked hungry as ever. The students, everything was packed there. First experience there in Beckley. Shout out to Ronnie Olson. That was a great experience there. But Shady Spring, though, they're a really good team. They're pretty young, though. They are led by Kobe Dillon, who's most of his career played at Woodrow Wilson Beckley High School. But he leads the team with 22 points per game, one of the best 3-point shooters in the state. Should be a very interesting matchup there, and going up against the North Marion team, who is destined, to make it to the state championship, because this is probably one of the best boys teams that I've seen North Marion play in recent memory. So you got Connor Ballins, you got Eli Ramsey, who's been leading the team in points and assists and steals, and So yeah, this could be a very interesting matchup, but I could see a Shady Spring upset. They've been experienced, so
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite matchups um, of the quarterfinals in almost any of the classes because North Marion I haven't gotten to see this year, and I think they're probably one of the most like anticipated teams that I'm excited to see actually play in person. And then obviously it's Shady, like Shady is Shady. They live in Charleston. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a state tournament without Shady Spring,
right.
almost. So I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, North Marion's only two losses this year are to Parkersburg South and Wheeling Central. So like, those are quality losses if you ask me.
Yeah,
And they only lost to Parkersburg South by two, who Parkersburg South PGW, who is supposed to be the best team in the state. So we'll see how that goes. I think North Marion is and I don't want to say quiet favorite because they're the two seed. So you don't want to say like a two seed's a quiet favorite. But I
right.
think North Marion might be my favorite in AAA to win the title over, Chapmanville.
Uh-oh, we lost them. Well, I think he was about to mention there about North Marion High School. They're a really good state tournament team. As he meant, North Marion looks like a pretty good team. As they mentioned, the quality loss that they had whenever they played Parkersburg South at the Winter Classic in uh, in Summersville. So definitely be interesting. We bring Michael back. You were mentioning about North Marion. I was just
Yeah,
mentioning what
I
you
don't
were
know what
mentioning
happened.
to him.
My internet just like cut out for literally like 2 seconds or something.
No,
My
that's
bad
fine,
about
dude.
that. But yeah, like I said, I was just saying, North Marion's one of those teams that I'm most excited to see, and they're probably my favorite in AAA to win.
I agree, and at Chapmanville, they definitely be a presence there, and I'm about to mention them. They play Robert C. Byrd in the 5:30 game, and
Yeah,
they're very big though. That's the thing; they have a lot of size, which I think is AAA doesn't really have like too much size this year. It's mostly all
right.
guard play, so someone's gonna have to match with their physicality. There are teams that have done that this year, like in state has been Capital, and Capital is not even in the tournament this year. So,
Yeah.
which that's a story for another time there. But Chapmanville, though, they're a really great team. They've been in Charleston before, and
Mhm.
Brad Napper is one of the best to do it there. So, and I know their fans, they pack the stands like crazy. So,
Yeah, yeah. Another game that's going to pack the stands is going to be that Winfield and Ripley game on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. And I know it's Wednesday night and it's a 9 p.m. game, but Ripley, they always bring their fans out. Winfield always brings their fans out. That game is going to be loud, no matter how late it is on Wednesday night. So, and it's the 4-5, so it's going to be good.
mhm.
I'm excited to watch AAA all being on Wednesday is going to be really a really good day of basketball, especially quarterfinals.
Oh yeah, that especially the Wednesday night after the Chapmanville RCB, you got Logan and Wyoming East, a big Southern
Mm,
rivalry there. Logan winning off a buzzer beater, off a game-winning layup by Lucas Lambert over Charleston Catholic, and then like you mentioned before, with the 4 and 5 game between Ripley and Winfield, and I got to read this amazing story written by Daniel Woods about um, Ty Lafferty, the kid who has I forget what he has. I'm sorry, I was just reading it earlier. But this Winfield community has been around him, and
mm,
he's been having, like, I think he has some type of cancer. But
oh,
this is seeing it's bigger than basketball mentality from Winfield, and then making it to the state tournament with this talented group is something
yeah,
very special. And I'm just, I'm this is because this is what it's all about, man. It's about bringing the community together and all that. That's the
yeah,
reason why the state tournament is just so special to me personally, and I'm just really happy to see Winfield, doing this more in basketball mentality they have, and like I said, I have a feeling that Ripley bought 9 buses last year when they
mm,
played here in Charleston a year ago, and with Winfield's fans, you already know Winfield fans. It's not even that far away. This is in Kanawha County. They're in Kanawha County, so this is going to be a very packed house
if
on Wednesday
Winfield
night.
if Winfield brings like the fans that they bring out for like their baseball state tournament, because they always bring out a lot of fans from baseball, it'll be packed with those two teams. It's going to be awesome that night.
I
Like we
agree
might
with
be
you.
we might be tired because it might be 9 p.m., but it'll be
Mhm.
so loud and electric in the Civic Center that we won't be able to sleep. We'll just be like, buzzing after the game. So
I agree with you.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
That whole Wednesday slate is just like incredible.
I know, man. I'm so excited for
So,
the Wednesday one. That's one of my personal. That's the ones I've been talking about for like this whole week has been that, and I'm just
but
very
then
looking forward to see what's going on.
you bring on Thursday, and it's like Quad A is just going to be another great day. So
Yep, because you got starting off with Spring Mills and University. We got to see that matchup for the last regular season game between the two teams, and even though Kwesi Opoku Champong, I don't think he shot a single three. He was missing because someone told me that he was under pressure because he was just about to reach his 1,000th career point, and University. It's kind of hard to win at University, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not saying it because I'm an alum. I'm just saying it because I've experienced that. I mean, but this
yeah,
University team, I feel like they're going to come in hungry this year. They definitely want to, win at least one. They haven't won in Charleston since 2019, when Kata Matheny and KJ McClurg won the title back then. So, um, but yeah, I mean, this University team
yeah,
looks hungry to play against the Spring Mills team, who's trying to go back to back this year, and they still have they had the team to do it. They have Equazi, they have Xavier Anderson, they got the Jones brothers, Tyler and Chase. I mean, Hope Boquay coming off the bench. I mean, it's possible, but it still could go either way.
yeah. I agree. And like all year, University has been chasing that quality win, like that big top five, top four win. They've played Spring Mills, they've played Morgantown, they've played GW, they played Washington. But they can never beat these teams. They lost to Morgantown by
Yeah.
10. Washington beat them pretty good at the beginning of the season, but they did lose to Spring Mills by 3 to end the year. So it's almost like you say that they're due for it. They're due for it. You know what I mean? I think this is probably my upset pick in the
Hmm.
first round. It's I know a Kwesi Apoku Champong is probably the best shooter in the state, but um, it's hard to shoot in Charleston no matter who you are. So
Oh yeah.
if and he shoots well down there, but if you have one bad game, um, it can come and get you. So University likes to get out and run. They might be the most athletic team in the state, just pure athleticism. Not I'm not saying they're the best basketball team in the state, but just for their athletes, athletic wise, they are freaks of nature when it comes to that. Like KK Lewis and Luke Byer and Glenn Brown and just all these athletes. They're all football players and all this stuff. So you get them on that Civic Center court where they can just run up and down, back and forth, and we'll see what happens. And they have a few shooters. You can get Jagger Barnes going. You can get Eli Karpinski going. Luke
Yeah.
Byer can step out. Glenn Brown can hit from outside. Uh, we saw KK Lewis hit a couple shots against Musselman at the regional. You and I were
Yeah,
sitting
he
right
had a couple
beside
of
each other.
threes. Yeah.
He stepped out and hit a couple threes, which he's not used to doing. So
Hmm.
if University can play defense and get rebounds and limit Spring Mills to one possession, or excuse me, limit them to one shot possessions, I think that University can pull the upset.
I agree with you. But the university's destined for a win. They're destined for that big win, and what better chance to do it than in Charleston on Thursday? So
Hmm.
we'll be very interesting to see how that all pans out. And then the other the other quad A quarterfinal game at 1 o'clock is between Morgantown and
Hmm.
then Riverside, who just came off a double overtime win over Hurricane. This is
Yeah.
their first appearance to the state tournament for boys basketball since 2002.
Wow.
So this is definitely a very big year for Riverside High School and for that community up in down Bell, West Virginia. So,
Mhm.
um, but they have some guys that can play. But
Yeah.
Morgantown's played them before. I think they played them in the Winter Classic in Summersville and won by like almost 20 plus.
20.
I want
They
to
did.
say
It was 20.
it was 20. Okay,
Yep.
I thought so.
Yep. 75 to 55, I think, or something like that.
75-55, yeah, something like
Yep.
that. Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, that's going to be a good matchup. And Riverside's going to bring out, it's a school time game, so they'll bring out their students. They'll bring out as many
Mhm.
students as they can. Like you said, the first time since 2002, so they haven't even had the opportunity to do this. Even the teachers that are in that school, even the principals and all that, they haven't even had the opportunity to come and do this with Riverside yet. So it's going to be a first time for everybody in that community for a while, and it's going to be really exciting. But you're right; they're running into to Morgantown, right? I mean, Morgantown is Morgantown. You don't really have to
Mhm.
say much about the Mohegans right now, but they are one of the best teams in the state. It's going to be tough to stop them. Obviously, they have so many weapons. Morgantown does. You know, you and I have watched them play up to 13 players in the first quarter of certain games, and it's not even like they were winning those games. Sometimes, sometimes they'll be losing a game, and Dave Tallman will still be subbing 13 people in because
Yep.
that's just how they are. Um, when you get down there, anything can happen. But so this will be a good matchup to watch. And like I said, it's that afternoon time, school time game. They're going to bring the students out. It's going to be fun.
I agree with you, and then I know that Riverside, the whole Riverside community is going to be packed there, and oh man, that's but Morgantown definitely brings a big challenge. Dave
Hmm.
Tallman still striving to get the Mohegans back to championship Saturday once again. They missed out last year from
Yeah.
GW in that semifinals, and I know how much the team, some of those players from last year, how they felt, and I know they want to get back to that as well. And moving on to that to their opponent from last year, GW, number one seed in Quad A this year, they'll be facing off against eighth seed Huntington.
Hmm.
Which that'll be a very interesting matchup. Both MSAC opponents. Obviously, GW is led by Noah Lewis, who's going to be playing at Wright State next season. Dominic Sprouse, one of the best sophomore, if not the best sophomore in West Virginia. Really good sharpshooter there. And as I've already mentioned down in my previews, as I mentioned for all teams, Dominic GW has a lot of bench pieces this year. They have a lot of pieces that can get after it, and
Yeah.
they can substitute people out just like Morgantown can. So, um, and GW, this team, this is their turf pretty much. So
Yeah.
they'll be ready to play whoever they play. And Huntington definitely presents a big challenge. They're pretty athletic. Tavion Wilson, the Clemson football signee, I know he's really athletic. I've had the chance to see him play for the past couple of years, and they got Pearson DeJenka, who's another really good 3-point shooter, and they got their point guard back in Isaiah Lapsley. So interesting matchup there. But GW, they played in the title game last year to Spring Mills, and they bring most of those players back. So and I know that
Hmm.
they're really hungry to try to bring a title, still bring it, stay it in Charleston, bring it to Charleston.
Yeah.
But they're,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Huntington's like they're kind of like UHS. They're just a bunch of athletes, right? Like they can play. Isaiah Lapsley is a really good basketball player. If you've never seen him play, he could probably play for any team in the state. And like you said, Tavion Wilson, Huntington is way better than their record. Their record's only 10-10 right now, but
Hmm.
they're way better than like what their record indicates, I think.
I agree. I agree. And unfortunately, I mean, I haven't seen this team play like in person this year, but I can see like through film that they play a lot better than the record suggests.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be a very interesting matchup there. And like I said before, GW, they're trying to keep the title in Charleston, at the South Hills, and and then lastly is in my opinion, other than Winfield and Ripley, is another big quarterfinal matchup that I'm very anticipated, looking forward to, is going to be Washington and Parkersburg South. Patriots versus Patriots matchup. Both have good quality guards leading their team. Josiah King for Washington, obviously Harry Silvis, Parkersburg South, who's been basically running their offense all season long. As for
Hmm.
someone who's been covering Parkersburg South, been calling games with Mr. Eric Little during the year. And I mean, and the Parkersburg South, the South Side Psychos, they'll always bring their fans to Charleston. So it'll be a good experience for them. And Washington, this is the first time that they've been to the state basketball tournament, boys basketball, for I can't remember when. It's been over a decade, I believe.
Oh,
Um, so for Washington to be back there, and with the special group that they have, and Josiah King, Chris Stolman, and Chet Gore, and Avery Brown. I mean, we got to see this team play. We got to see him play
yeah.
Morgantown and let them down to the wire. So
Hmm.
But Parkersburg South also did the same thing, and they don't usually do
Mhm.
well at Morgantown High School. So, um, so these two teams, man, it could be could go either way.
Yeah, most teams don't do well at Morgantown High School, to be honest. But other no, but no, you're right. This Parkersburg South and Washington matchup is going to be a must see TV. I like Parkersburg South in this one. These are two teams that, like you said, I watched both of them play Morgantown, and they both played well in Morgantown.
Hmm.
Parkersburg South was a 3-pointer away from winning at the buzzer in overtime. So yeah, but like you said, Harry Silvis and Taj Joyce and Park South. Like I like Harry Silvis's game a lot. He can take over a game. He can score on all three levels. He can play any position 1 through 5. He can guard any position 1 through 5. He can run on the fast break. He can play in the half court. He can break the press. Like he can play defense. Yeah, he has it all. And I think that in a tournament like this, you need a player that, especially in a game that's a 4-5, like as evenly matched up as this one, you
Hmm.
need a player that can take over a game like he can. And obviously, I know Washington. They, Josiah King, Chris Dolman. Chris Dolman is a very incredible player. If people haven't seen Chris Dolman play, you're gonna be in for a treat when you see him play against Parkersburg South. But I do like Parkersburg South a little bit more in this matchup. And like you said, they'll probably have the little bit of the advantage when it comes to the fans. And it's they're well coached. They know how to play down on this court. It'll be a good matchup, but I do like Park South in that one.
Sure, yeah, sure, be a very interesting matchup there, and well, that's all the quarterfinals there, and then obviously we got semifinal Friday, and then championship Saturday. During that time, we'll see what our predictions will bring here. State title predictions. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's very interesting to say. I don't
yeah,
really
it's
like to jump the
tough.
gun there, you know.
You want to make picks who we think's gonna take it home,
Yeah.
or
We'll start with you if you want to go first.
okay?
Mike is yours.
Do you want me to start in quad A or you want me to start single A?
We'll
Uh,
just go single A first since that's the
okay,
first title game, and we'll just go all the way up from there.
gotcha. Let me pull up this bracket real quick. Single A, yeah, there are a lot of good games, but I haven't seen Greater Beckley play just yet, which I'm very curious to see them because I think they were kind of a quiet team this year, and then they really made a lot of noise down the stretch. But I can't pick against Tug Valley. You know what I mean? Like until they give me a reason not to, I'm gonna have to take Tug Valley in single A. So
I agree with you. I mean, Tug Valley, they're a good team, and I was kind of hoping it was going to be Huntington St. Joe's and Tug Valley title game, to be honest with you,
yeah,
because those are the two teams I'm familiar with. Greater Beckley Christian, though, I mean, they're the 1 seed. They kind of have like, I don't want to say the easiest bracket, but they do have Webster County, and then they'll potentially play either Parkersburg Catholic or East Hardy. East Hardy does seem more like a threat to me personally, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's going to be Tug Valley and Greater Beckley Christian, the title game, and I feel like Tug Valley will go all the way, and Coach Trevor
yeah,
Thompson and Braden Ferris will get their three-peat.
yeah. I think Double A kind of speaks for itself. I think I said at the beginning that Double A is really the only class that probably has a head above everybody favorite in Wheeling Central. But if that Bluefield and Wyoming East, if they both make it to the semifinals, that's going to be a really good matchup in the semifinals. Um, so it's going to be hard to pick that one, but I would take Wheeling Central over the field. But Wyoming East or Bluefield, if either of those teams make it to the championship game against Wheeling Central, I think that they could be, you know, a good chance for an upset. But I'm going to take the Maroon Knights to win the title for now. So
I agree. I mean, Wheeling Central, they've been looking like the favorite all year long, and they've been one of the best teams in the state. Like not just in Double A, but just in any class. And you already know Eli Sankum. You know, he was defending Player of the Year last year. He's most likely going to
mhm.
win Player of the Year this year. Um, I just can't see Wheeling Central losing, whether or not they play either Wyoming East or Bluefield in the title game. Whoever they play, it's still going to be a very interesting championship game. I feel like either team could give Wheeling Central a challenge, but I feel like at the end of the day, Coach Mel Stevens will give the Wheeling Knights, Maroon Knights, another title down East Wheeling, up in East Wheeling. So, AAA though, man, I don't know.
It's a tough one.
This is probably going to be this is probably the toughest one in my opinion because you got Chapmanville, you got North Marion, you got Bridgeport, you got Winfield. I can see either one of those four teams making it to the championship, so could go either way there. But I feel like Chapmanville is kind of looking like I feel like it'll most likely be Chapmanville, North Marion.
Hmm.
I think it might be those two teams, and I don't want to I don't really know in terms of size and everything. I just can't see anybody matching up with the physicality with Chapmanville. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be a tight one, but I feel like Chapmanville wins it all in AAA, and Brad
Yeah.
Nepper will bring the title back to the Chapmanville once again.
Yeah. I kind of already told my pick for AAA, which is North Marion. I like the way this team plays. I haven't seen them play. I've seen them play on video, but I haven't seen them play in person. So I think they play the team ball well enough to get it done down in the state tournament. I know Chapmanville brings a lot of size, but I think North Marion at the end of the day is going to be able to. They're kind of built for this kind of week. I think this kind of setting. I think so. I'm excited to watch them play. And I think North Marion is going to take it home in AAA.
Yes, sir. It'll definitely be interesting to watch for sure, and I can't wait to see what will happen there. And then lastly, Quad A, another tight one. I honestly don't know. I still think GW is going to make it to the title game, and they've been my favorite all season long. And um, but I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of expecting a GW Morgantown rematch from 2021 into 2026. So
Okay.
Tallman versus Green once again, the two of the best coaches in the state and two with the deepest rosters in Quad A. So,
Yeah.
so it could go either way there, but it'll be a tough contest. But I still feel like GW will win it out. Noah
Yeah.
Lewis will go to Wright State as a state champion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. I don't think anyone would argue with that opinion. I that Morgantown Spring Mills semifinal, if Spring Mills were to win, would be really tough. I mean, Spring Mills are in University, but Morgantown's obviously 2-0 against University this year, so you would probably take them on paper. But Morgantown just lost to GW by double figures on the road at the end of the regular season, so you take that into account. The matchups for Morgantown are probably a little better when it comes to their starting five. I would probably take Morgantown on paper when it comes to their starting five, but GW definitely has the better player in Noah Lewis, obviously. But Morgantown, you talk about Max Fry, you talk about Waylon Callistro, you talk about Colin Ridgway. Cam Kellogg can if he gets hot, he can make
Mhm.
a few threes and make a difference. Arlo Callistra has really come on for them. They just have so many people.
Oh, you froze again. But I think what he was like mentioning though, I mean, like in terms of I think he mentioned like in terms of their size, they look really talented on paper. Here we
I
go.
don't know what's
And it's
happening.
still, I know and it's stuck right
I
there,
think
but
my
I
computer's ready
know
for bed. I don't know what's going on.
I
But
got you. I'm gonna see
anyway,
if I can remove this one right there.
it's
There we
fine.
go.
And luckily, we're almost done, and it's almost time. The computer's
Yeah.
ready for basketball, I guess. So
I
that's what's going on.
guess.
But yeah, like I was just saying, I just think the Mohegans have a lot of weapons, and playing GW again would be, playing them in the regular season is going to be a big advantage if Morgantown does make it to the title game against GW because Dave Tallman will be able to make adjustments. That's the kind of coach he is. That he'll be ready. He'll have his
Hmm.
players ready for that matchup. So don't sleep on the Mohegans. But I think my pick is going to have to be GW um, for now, simply because I've seen them play. Noah Lewis is literally like the definition of difference maker. Like if you look that up in the dictionary, you're going to see a picture of that guy. So he's a man out there amongst boys. It's crazy. We talk about Joe Schmidl said this to me too. Like university's head coach, there's not a whole lot of size in West Virginia when it comes to basketball, or especially Quad A right now. Noah Lewis obviously has great size, but other than that, like you don't have a lot of guys that are over 6'4" or 6'3". Noah Lewis is what, 6'8", six
Yeah,
foot
I would say
seven,
6'7",
right? So
6'8", something like
and
that.
he's a big guy. He's muscle. He's got muscles. He's got strength. Like he can push you around. He can go through you. He can also go around you. Like so. He's a matchup problem. So I would probably take GW as the favorites right now, but it's really really close in Quad A.
I agree, and I've seen this story before. I mean, you have a team that loses by like 20 plus in the regular season, but once it comes tournament time, both teams be ready to go. It's gonna be a close game either way because it's what's expected in March Madness. In March Madness, you expect this stuff to happen. We
Yeah,
have to have like heart stoppers for these games.
yeah,
We got to be like, oh, like we don't know what's gonna happen there. Like who's gonna win this, like and all that. But this is what March Madness is all about. It's all about upsets. It's all about this and that. Um, but like I said before, out of all the games that I've covered here, this like I said, this is my first year covering college basketball. I've covered some WVU games, getting to see like into my first professional arena and all that. But even then, nothing ever tops the state tournament. This for me is, this is the best thing. This is literally the best thing that I look forward to every single year. And that goes to all the AAU tournaments, to all the high level tournaments I've ever gone to. The state tournament, in my opinion, to me, will always be number one in my heart because of the state.
yeah. This is where you get to see the best teams, man. And like you don't, we cover so many games throughout the year that these teams, the good teams, the teams that make the state tournament, they win games by 40 points, 30 points, blowouts all year. Not all year, but some of these games that they
Yeah,
win are blowouts. And like, but this is where we get to watch good basketball. This is where we're going to be able to see competitive games. I'm really excited, and I can't wait to get down there and just watch this whole week of basketball and see what these players can do.
absolutely. And it's especially for the communities as well. That's another factor. I mean, every community coming from every single part of the state is another amazing feeling. So definitely want to give out to all the people that are traveling during this winter weather because we are getting some snow around here in this area, especially in Charleston. So definitely showing out some prayers to anyone who are traveling tomorrow and heading to this week. It is supposed to warm up though, so this isn't going to be like this all week. So it's only going to be like this for about maybe a day or two. So
Yeah.
for everyone who's traveling, we wish you safe travels, and we congratulate everyone for every team that's participating in the state tournament. I mean, there's some great players in the state of West Virginia who have never played in this,
Hmm.
and so take every opportunity like this with a grain of salt. I mean, this is literally like the best thing. And this is like for me as a player, you know, I've made memories from this. I may have not won a state championship in my junior and senior year, but those 2 years being in Charleston are moments that I'm never going to forget for the rest of my life. And it changed me for the better. So, but yeah, I wish everyone good luck the rest of the week. And like I said, this is going to wrap this up. Make sure you guys go like, subscribe to the channel. And for the guys who are watching on Twitter, make sure you guys go follow me on every social media platform at Ollie Reed Sports. We'll give you live updates and coverage throughout the rest of the state tournament this week, Tuesday through Saturday in Charleston. Make sure you guys go follow Michael Griffith as well at Griff. That is triple H underscore Griff. So,
Hmm.
uh, yes, sir. So, thank you guys for showing out. We got a lot of people, 112 viewers throughout the whole entire stream. So, I want to thank you guys for those of you who are listening, tuning in. And like I said, live updates all over my social media. Make sure you guys go tune in. And for that, signing out. See you, everybody.